Everyone makes mistakes, and this is no different for Skyblock. While I've already made some videos on some mistakes players have made, there's always new mistakes new players are starting to make, as well as old. But in this video, I'll be going over mistakes that mostly late players are making recently when preparing for dungeons and everything of the sort. But before the video starts, please consider subscribing if you do end up enjoying the video. Also, subscribe because when I hit 15,000 subscribers, I will be scamming Hypixel. So you're going to want to see that. So subscribe and maybe join the Discord server. And back to the video. The first problem has to do with where people are focusing their money when preparing for dungeons. I've went over this slightly in my last video about mistakes, but to go a little bit more in depth, people are spending a lot of their money on stuff like armor when they should be spending more of their money on pets. Items like Superior or Frozen Blaze are good sets to buy, but you don't need them and they will probably get out damaged quickly by other sets. Any player can see how good all these dungeon sets and items are, and it's always inevitable that some of these items are going to be way better than anything like Superior in dungeons, simply because of the fact that these are all dungeon items, which means they are made for dungeons and will obviously perform better. And if you look into some of the specifics of these items, you can see that it is almost perfectly true that many of these will be way better than anything like Superior. But still, Superior is still a good set, and it will be good for dungeons when upgraded to a dungeon item. The only thing is that it's quite expensive to do, so you won't really be able to do it at the beginning of dungeons, but when you can, it will be worth it. Instead, put your money into pets, as almost every player should do. But why pets, you may ask? The reason pets is because there's nothing going to replace them in dungeons, so they will always be worth having even after dungeons comes out. So they won't get replaced or become obsolete like some of the other armors when in dungeons. So you're going to want to get yourself a good pet because you will need it, and you will not be able to get anything better in dungeons, unlike stuff like armor sets and swords. The next problem has to do with how you set up your minions. Most people use money making minions, whether they be something like ice minions as of now, or even something like sheep minions, because they make a lot of money. But I strongly advise you don't do this, especially if you're anywhere close to the late game. You can see that on my island, I run a combination of clay minions and snow minions for the XP. As many of you might know, the two skills that are the hardest to level up are fishing and mining. The difference between getting AFK money and getting AFK skill XP is that for AFK money, you can also just go and trade with some random person and get yourself 40 million coins in literally 5 minutes if you wanted to. The next mistake you might be making is paying too much time to making money over anything else in the game. I don't know about you guys, but when I started playing Skyblock, the only thing I cared about was getting a lot of money. But now I've changed, and what I care about mostly is skills. You probably heard the preach about going and grinding skills a lot by now, but right now, let me give you my insight on stuff about grinding skills. So now let's go into some quick specifics about the best ways to make money while grinding skills. For mining XP, grinding cobble is the best way to get mining XP and gives a slight good amount of money. Breaking dark oak trees in the dark thicket is the best way to get foraging XP out there, but it gives a little bit of money, but could compare to something like the money you would get from mining XP. Instead, jungle gives more money and is slightly less efficient, but for most players, if they're looking for money over the skills, it's much better to do something like jungle with a tree capitator or a jungle axe. Fishing is actually quite a good money making method, and with the use of something like a diver's set and an epic or legendary dolphin pet, a rod of legends, or a shredder, and an ink wand, you can make quite a decent amount of money by just fishing, as well as get some of the hardest XP in the game to get, this being fishing XP. Finally, the best for probably money and skill XP is pumpkins, as they give good amounts of skill XP as well as give you massive amounts of money. If you're willing to sacrifice some skill XP for money, sugarcane is an extremely good source of money, as well as it does give a decent farming XP. So if you're looking for the best money to skill XP ratio in the game, I extremely advise that you do sugarcane or pumpkins. If these mistakes did end up helping you learn from them, and you actually got to change them and make yourself progress better in Skyblock, please consider subscribing to support the channel, as well as you're going to want to subscribe so that I can go and scam Hellcastle. And also, maybe join the Discord server, and goodbye.